Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be doing a book talk video and I'm going to be talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses by J Maas. I finished this book a couple days ago and I wanted to take a little bit of time to think about it before I actually posted this review. I'd like to start by saying that J Maas is one of the best authors in the world. Like Hazel says, I would read her grocery list if I could. And I'd probably give that a 5-star review. Okay, I'm going to give you the non-spoilery bit, and then in a minute I'm going to give you the spoilery bit, so if you haven't read it, go read it, and then come back and watch the spoilery bit. Okay. A Court of Thorns and Roses is about a girl named Feyre. She's 19. She is living in a world where humans used to be slaves to the Fae, and Fae, they're like fairies. Now there was a great big war and everything, and then eventually there was a big invisible wall put up that separated the Fae from the humans so that they could all live their separate lives and everything like that. And so Feyre is a human girl living on her side of the wall, and her family kind of sucks. Yeah, to say the least, her family kind of sucks. She's a huntress, and one day she's out in the woods, she's hunting food, and she kills a wolf. She skins the wolf, sells the fur, sells the fur, then a big bad wolf shows up at her door and is all like, who killed him? And it turns out that the wolf she killed was not actually a wolf, it was a fae. That's not really a spoiler out there, that's within like the first 10 pages. And it's kind of on the back. I thought it was beautifully written. I always think that J Maas writes beautifully. I was captivated from the very beginning. Go read it, it's really good. I would definitely recommend it, and if you love this, then you will love these as well. These are also J Maas. Throne of Glass is... I'm going to die. The next book in this series comes out next month. And I'm losing my mind. I need to know what's gonna happen right now. And so, for all you guys who haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses, come back when you've read it and watch the spoilery version. Bye! Okay, onto the spoilery bit. First things first, Feyre. Let's talk about Feyre and her stupid decision making. How many times does this girl have to be told not to do something, but she goes and does it anyway? First example of this, when it's the whole like sex festival thing going on, and she's told by so many people, don't come out of your room, don't come out of your room, don't come out of your room, just stay there, don't come to the sex festival, but they don't put it that way, but let's be honest, that's what it is. How many times is she told that? What does she do? She goes to the sex festival. And then she gets into trouble while she's there and has to be rescued, and then the guy who rescues her, who I adore, Lucia, and I absolutely adore him, I think he's amazing. He takes her back to her room and says, stay in your room, and he explains the whole thing about what's actually going on and why she should stay in her room, and it makes a lot of sense. She doesn't stay in her room. She goes out, she gets herself into a situation. I was like, oh, all through that, like, oh my god. But anyway, but yeah, that was a very stupid decision, Feyre. Just listen to what you're told. You're told it for a reason. Why, in all the months, Feyre, that you were at Tamlin's court, why didn't you learn to read? Why? You got some people there ready and willing to teach you how to read. You got this list of words that you don't understand that you'd like to learn how to spell or how to read or whatever, and you don't do it. You just walk around the gardens all day. Go and learn to read. Because of course one of her trials with Amarantha would be reading. And then I'm there absolutely terrified because I know this girl can't read. Now my favorite characters are gonna die. Yay. So I was having a little bit of a fangirl panic attack. And then there was the whole eye on her palm, which reminds me a little bit of Daughter of Smoke and Bone. because of the eyes on the palms. The thing with Rysand, I can't pronounce his name, but okay, I'm saying Rysand, okay? The thing with the palm, with the eye, with Rysand, again, that there is referring back again to how Alice was all like, don't make bargains with the Fae. But that there is driving the plot along, because obviously some stuff's gonna happen with her and Rysand in the second book, and this needed to happen in order to set that up. And to be fair, she was dying. Yeah, if I was in her situation, I probably would have made that deal as well, but I would have thought about it for longer. I'm just gonna tell myself that. And the guy, the surreal thingy, was all like, stay with the High Fae. You'll be safe with the High Fae Lord. Why doesn't she listen to the High Fae Lord then? He's like a couple 100 years old. He has a bit more life experience. And she's all like, I know everything. Let's go to the sex festival. Despite all of Feyre's very bad decisions, I liked Feyre a lot. I love the way that she relates everything to art and to painting and to colors and shapes and things like that. I really like that because I've never read anything like that where somebody relates to a situation with colors, the colors they would use if they were to paint it. I thought that was really, really beautifully written. Within about 2 minutes of reading, I wanted to kill Nesta. I hated her. I hated her so much. She was awful. She was just the bitchiest, meanest, nastiest person. If I was Feyre, I would slap that girl so hard. Yes, I understand Feyre can't leave. She made this promise to her mom, but she never said that she would not beat the crap out of her sister for being a nasty little a-hole. So I would have done that because that girl really, 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 really needed it in the first half of the book. In the second half, not so much. Nesta, she jumps in and she's suddenly, all of a sudden, this wonderful, great big sister who is there to take care of her sister and her family, and is the only one that her sister has in that moment, which I really, really loved because there was some real character development there for both Feyre and for Nesta. They could put everything aside and just love each other like sisters, which kind of goes against what I just said about beating the crap out of her. The pronunciation of a lot of the names and words in the book. You know when you have a certain pronunciation of the name in your head and then you get to the little keyword thing and you've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time? Yeah, well, that happened with Lucian. For me, it was Lucian. I'm sorry, so I'm gonna pronounce Lucian, okay? I thought Lucian was awesome. I really, really liked him because he was snarky and he had some sass, which I found a little bit, I kind of wanted a little bit more snark from Tamlin. Although I know he wasn't supposed to be the snarky one, he was the one who was all, let me love you. Lucian's like, you are gonna have to earn it. If I was to be friends with these people, I think that I would be better friends with Lucian than I would be with Tamlin because I can laugh with Lucian. You can't laugh so much with Tamlin, although I would not object to going and swimming in the Starlight Pool with him. I would really be up to that. Another name that I struggled with was Rysand. I was pronouncing Rysand. That's what I was saying in my head, but it's Rysand. And yeah. I don't know what he's going, he's weird. I think the next book is gonna be really interesting. I think we're gonna find out a lot about the palm with the eye. Oh, I just had an idea. The eye on her hand, maybe that has something to do with the eye on the ring that Amarantha was wearing. At the end of the book, when Feyre dies and everybody's coming up and putting their little star thing, I was just like picturing these little like bits of glitter just going. My question is, the whole thing with Feyre going into Rysand's mind and seeing all of this happen, again, that makes me think back to the eye on her palm and the eye in Amarantha's ring. To me, it kind of seems like a very similar thing. That Amarantha would be forcing him to watch through the ring, and maybe it's a similar kind of thing with Rysand making her watch, but through his eyes. Maybe that's related to the eye on her palm, but again, I'm speculating here. I'm going crazy because I need the next book, because I need to know now. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind. Same for those ones. I need the next book right now. And I need it signed. His whole I didn't want to be that person who was in the history books, just stood there and let everything happen. I don't buy it. I buy it, but not entirely, because I think that he had way more than that as a motive. So I think that when it comes to the second book, we're gonna be in for a little bit of a love triangle. That prediction's kind of not just mine. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that as well, because, come on, number one, he's gorgeous. Number two, he is kind of an asshole, although he helps her a lot. And number three, she's now gonna be living with him for a week out of a month for the rest of her life. You can't, yeah. Come on, you're spending that amount of time with somebody and you're sort of sired to them. Yeah. There's gonna be a bit of a love triangle. Now, let's talk about the giant worm. It was dying. That was the point of the book where I was losing my mind because I couldn't breathe. It was just so good and so tense, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know what's gonna happen. She's gonna roll around and get set the trap. And I was so excited. I was dying. Amarantha, she's a bitch. One thing that I did find that brought me out of the story for just a moment was when everybody in Amarantha's court, when Feyre was coming for her last trial, they were all, I was thinking Hunger Games. And about the riddle, I read the first 2 lines or 3 lines, and I knew what the answer was. I'm just like, it's love. It's love. It's love. Feyre, it's love. Do you ever get that feeling where you just wanna, just here's the book and just dive straight in and just yell the answers at everybody? And we have that bit where she's in her cell and the bone is sticking out of her arm and she's just like, ow, 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 ow. I'm just like, yikes, that was like, I had this picture of it going in my head and it was gross. In my head she was covered in all of that nasty smelling, disgusting grit that was probably worm crap, and that the worm eats people and craps out people, which means she's covered in people in crap or something like that. Just, if I don't make sense, just ignore it. And then she's got this bone sticking out of her arm and her arm's rotting and it's gonna fall off, and where's Lucian? Lucian's not showing up. And then when Rysand showed up, and I'm just like, I know what you're gonna do now, Feyre. You're gonna go against everyone's advice, aren't you? One thing that I was not expecting from this book, because I read Throne of Glass. With Throne of Glass, you were on the edge of your seat the entire book. You seriously, every second you felt like you were about to have another heart attack, because you just recovered from the last one, from reading the last little bit of the book, and now you're on to the next little bit of it. Wasn't like that. The last 150 pages, I was on the edge of my seat thinking my heart was about to explode out of my chest. But the rest of the book, no, I wasn't, because my heart wasn't going because I was terrified or because I was excited or because I was nervous or anxious or just being a fangirl. I was enjoying it so much, and I enjoyed the tension between Feyre and Tamlin, and that made me giggle a lot because Feyre is such a teenage girl about this. But I'm a teenage girl about this too, so I'm not gonna judge it. It wasn't until everything happened with Amarantha that I started to feel like my heart was going to explode out of my chest. But obviously her decision making, as appalling as it is, turns out pretty good for her in the end, and she gets the guy that she loves, and she frees the world, and she becomes a High Fae, and her life gets pretty great, except for the whole imprinted on her hand thing. That part she should see a doctor. She's going from this place of being considered weak and nothing and useless and helpless to a place where she could, this helpless little girl who's human and cannot take care of herself and cannot even read, can go from being that to being their savior. And the savior not of humans, of Fae, of these all-powerful people, and she's suddenly their hero, which I really loved. I really loved that it was very empowering, and I do like the underdog. Sarah J Maas is an artist. She's genius. She writes the most incredible work. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you angry, it makes you want to strangle certain characters. Nesta, that was for you. I loved it, I really did. Sarah J Maas has done it again. She is absolutely incredible. So if you haven't read it, highly recommend that you go read it. It is absolutely sensational. I love it. Aside from Farah's poor decision making, she's actually really likable. So thank you guys so much for watching. All the books that I've mentioned I'll link in the description, and I'll have another review up for you next week. Right now I'm reading this, Rebel's Honor by Gwyn White. Look at that cover and just take a minute. It's beautiful. Fangirl problems when you run out of space on all your bookshelves. So please subscribe and like if you would like to subscribe and that you like. Yeah, you know what I mean. I will have another one up for you next week. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you soon. Bye!